I just want to take that learning and apply it to a number of other things, which is one of the reasons why I wrote this book, alongside of, having something that my son can be proud of. I have a
Mhm.
17-year-old son, Jelani.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back. It is Wednesday, and Wednesday, your favorite time of that Wednesday is, of course, Leaders Talk. As usual, I'm back. I'm Andrew Dupy. I'm here, your Chief Relationship Officer here at Leaders Press. And with me today is a very special guest of ours. I say that about everybody, but he really is. This is Jermel Carr. And I'm going to introduce you to Jermel here for a little bit. He is a veteran marketer and the founder and chief solution provider of Project Forward Marketing Solutions. So Project Forward has developed a personal brand coaching academy program to develop things like curriculum, activities, and programs for students and professionals. And it helps them understand the importance of how they develop their personal brands. It allows them to be as successful as possible for the future. And so Jermel has taken his over 2 decades in marketing to do this. He's worked at well-known companies like Kimberly-Clark is one of them, where he worked his way up from a brand manager on the Huggies brand, and Nestle Prepared Foods, where he worked on billion-dollar plus brands like Lean Cuisine and Stouffer's. And he is also, most importantly to us at Leaders Press, the author of High Five to Winning, and he's going to be here to talk about that with us today. So, Jermel, welcome. I know there's a whole lot more for you to tell us, but I'm glad to have you here today. So let's take a second, just introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andy. I'm excited to be here as well. I think you did a great job of covering my background and where I've been. But one of the things that I am proud of is that I'm originally from the South Side of Chicago,
Okay.
and that's where I was born and raised. Even though I haven't lived there in a long time, that's where I started things, and that's where I grew up. Started my marketing career and learning about marketing at the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
Was there and played a little bit of ball while I was there. Walked on and played 3 years and lettered, and so that really tied into a lot of what I kind of talk about in the book as well. So that fed and led to some of the things that I've experienced. And like you said, I've been in the marketing realm for over 20 years. Enjoy it, have worked in different parts of it, consumer products, goods, and then also services. And, I just want to take that learning and apply it to a number of other things, which is one of the reasons why I wrote this book, alongside of, having something that my son can be proud of. I have a 17-year-old son, Jelani, who means the world to me. So I told him I was going to do this book. It's been a long time coming. But we have gotten it done, and I'm happy that it's out, and I hope that people are enjoying it.
Well, that is an amazing journey that you did, all the way from football to marketing to coaching to being an author. As a football fan myself, hearing that you come in as a walk-on and go all the way to becoming a letterman, that's a pretty interesting journey. Not everybody gets to do that at a high level in college football. So did any of that kind of begin your inspirational journey of being able to overcome obstacles that I'm sure were put in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely played a big part in being able to be resilient and overcome some things. To be honest with you, just me being in college
Yeah.
helped me to start overcoming some things because, as I mentioned, grew up in a tough neighborhood early
Hmm.
on, and was able to matriculate and go to a great high school, Lindblom Technical High School, but still didn't have the resources really to be able to pay for college. First generation college. Well, my brother went to college. He didn't graduate, but I would be one of the first to go to college and graduate. And so being there in itself without having any really financial support was something that was definitely showed me how I could overcome things and be
Hmm.
able to really go after and be able to grab hold of my dreams, regardless of the circumstances where I came from. But the football also led to that as well. Being able to walk on and be able to start traveling with the team my first year, work that summer, work out over the summer. I talk a little bit about that in the book. and then be able to make the team, and not only make the team, to be able to travel and then be a starter on special teams and letter as a special teams player, and a strong safety, was something that was a dream of mine. Didn't necessarily foresee myself going to the NFL, but just to be able to accomplish that and to be able to go around and play against some big time people, like Marshall Faulk and Eddie George and all the big backs that we had in the Big Ten, to see them up close and personal, and sometimes be able to push them out of bounds because you weren't hitting Eddie George and Mike Allstott too hard squared up. You just kind of guide them out of bounds or whatever. So that was something that let me know that coming from where I came from, not only being able to get into college, but then be able to walk on and play football and then be able to play, was something that let me know early on that that if I set my mind to things, that I could accomplish them.
And where in that process did you begin to take an interest in the concept of marketing?
So I started out as didn't know. I knew I wanted to be in business, going to school. So of course, when you talk to everyone, they were like accounting. I was a math guy and loved math. So I went into school knowing that I was going to be a CPA. Everybody asked me, "What are you going to be?" I'm going to be a CPA. Well, I did my first 2 years of accounting. And then I hit my first marketing class. And when I got into my first marketing class, the light just kind of hit me. It was like this epiphany, like, this is what you want to do. These are the things that you want to be a part of. And so from that moment on, I switched, my major, because in the Carlson School at the University of Minnesota at that time, you can only do accounting or general management. So I switched it to general management and focused on marketing. And, I had some great, Mark Berghoff was my first marketing professor. And we had this whole big display about Campbell's soups and all the different soups, different varieties, who they appeal to, what's the difference in this, low sodium appeals to this. It was just amazing to me. And so from that moment on, I knew that, and it kind of goes along with this book, trying to get in the mind of consumers, get in the mind of people, to try and figure out a way, how can I have an impact on the way that they think about my brands or my products, but then also how they kind of go about thinking about themselves as well, and building themselves up and building that winning mindset. So that was my first foray into marketing. And so once I graduated undergrad, I knew I wanted to go back and get my MBA, because I knew I wanted to be more on the side of developing the strategies, coming up with the ideas, and who those core targets were that we were going to be hitting, versus just executing. Not saying that executing, we still have to execute even as a brand manager, but really come up with those KPIs and understanding who the customer is, how we're going to hit them, coming up with those strategies to be able to reach them, was something that appealed to me and something that I knew I wanted to go back and do. And so I was able to do that as well.
And I love hearing that, because in the course of the time on this podcast, we hear so many different stories that run the gamut, all the way from, well, I don't use anything that I did when I had it from my degree, which is me. No. I'm not using anything.
I still reference some of my marketing research books.
Yeah. But then it goes to this, where, we actually see where the system can work and can do the right inspiration for somebody and put you in the position to succeed. So how did you then take that education that was obviously very valuable, built you up, put you in the position to succeed? How did you then make that application of that knowledge successful?
Yeah. So, like I said, I went out, and after undergrad, I worked for Chrysler out in Michigan for a couple of years. Started off in Minnesota and then went to Michigan. And like I said, I knew I wanted to go back and get my my MBA. And so when I went back and got my MBA, I went back to the University of Minnesota. That's another long story. At the time, they were like, "Don't go back to the school you did your undergrad at." But I was able to. Well, I was looking at going to another school. They changed their major, so I went back to Minnesota just because of the great program that they had there and the connections that they had with the businesses in that area, in the Twin Cities. Like a number of headquarters, which people don't know or don't recognize, are based in Minneapolis and in St. Paul. So I went back there and got a great education there at the Carlson School, not only in the classroom, but also in those relationships there and with those businesses. And I knew I was able to go out and do something that would be able to tie into what, all of that learning had provided me. So when I went into Kimberly-Clark, where I went after my undergrad, I was able to apply a lot of the things that I learned, not only from the classroom, as I mentioned, when we're talking about packaging and we're talking about branding and we're talking about consumer relationships and all of those things. I was able to take some of those, like I said, folders and books that I had from business school as well as from undergrad, and be able to take that right into the workplace and be able to apply some of those things. So I'm fortunate to be able to, not only have an internship. I interned with Ford Motor Company between my first and second year of business school. Learned some great things there. Was working on a e-commerce at the time on their vans, which was a cutting trend thing. So be able to talk about how we could use these vans to deliver, groceries and all of this stuff, and to see a lot of that come to fruition in different ways. I was able to use that as well. But then the internship led into more of the things that I learned in school. And when I went into Kimberly-Clark and started off, working as an associate brand manager and doing forecasting and all of that, I was able to rely on a lot of the things that I had learned in business school and undergrad, to be able to apply that also, in my internship experience, be able to apply that right away. So I was blessed in that way in terms of, again, starting off in accounting, kind of zigzagging my way, but really being able to come back to marketing and really be able to apply what I learned and what I was doing on a daily basis.
So when did you start taking some of your fresh ideas and beginning to insert it into your process? Because I know that there's only a point where education can take you, and
Yeah.
your experience can take you just so far. But then you have to kind of, from what the success you've had, you have to begin to apply yourself and to begin to add unique outlooks. When did that happen, and what were some of the unique takes that you took that you're original to you?
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, one, I wanted to go into any situation believing that I was bringing something different to the table, whether that was, again, right out at Kimberly Clark, or when I got to Nestle, or whatever the case may be. So bring a different perspective. And I think one of the things that I really learned about Kimberly Clark, and I'll just, if you don't mind, take a
Oh, go
step
for it.
back on a story. When I was at Ford Motor Company, or when I was at Daimler Chrysler, I had a trainer that talked about really taking something and owning it, that you can make your own. And then when people need those type of things, that they will come to you and look to you for a perspective on it. So that stuck with me. And when I went into, Kimberly Clark and started forecasting, I wanted to own that forecasting information or that data and really understand it and be able to say, we're accurate to this point, and this is where we were last quarter or last period, and this is where we're going to be this period. So owning that process was something that that was really important to me, and then I was able to take that and apply that in the different roles that I was in. So when I moved up to an assistant brand manager, and then all the way to a brand manager, I was really able to look at that forecasting, tie into that, and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to hit the bottom line and everything else." So that was something that stuck with me and something that I was proud about. But then being able to just come, it started, I think, in business school, being able to be my unique self. Bring my experiences to the table. So not being afraid to say, "Well, I understand where you're coming from with that, but the consumers or the people that I've been around, this is the experience that I've had, with them, or this is what I've seen, this is what I've experienced, and this is how I think they will approach things." So, and then, moving on, it really, once I left Nestle, and went out on my own into the consulting world, I knew I had a lot of information, and that's where I really started being able to apply my learning, my thinking, my spin on things to everything that I was doing. And so I could go in and talk about my experience in the corporate world, but also my experience as a manager, as a leader, as a marketer, and be able to, really apply things to those businesses and really be able to bring out, the core of, who I am as a marketer and be able to help them understand you need some marketing research. Marketing research will help you be able to find those nuggets because that's my experience. I really focused on that when I was, in corporate. And I know that if you find that nugget and understand who your consumer is and what they're about, you'll be able to apply that. Or, just being able to apply all the things I learned on the football field, in athletics, and everything else when I went out and started not only, trying to get the consulting business, but also as a salesman, as a partner, and as a teammate, being able to apply those things. That was, helped me to be able to get some of the clients that I had, but then also be successful with them also.
And that's what that's very interesting to me, especially you coming from marketing background. I'm not going to say it might have been easier for you than some other people to move from working in corporate to coaching in yourself. But I know that a lot of people find that transition difficult because where they find that they have an area of opportunity or something that really just is an obstacle to them is trying to stand out, trying to market themselves, trying to brand themselves as a coach, as an independent contractor that says, I have the experience, come to me for what I can offer. Yeah. So, what kind of advice can you give to those that don't necessarily have the kind of background that you have to move from corporate America to being their own independent consultant and coach and making that a business that can actually work for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the first thing that you have to do is to, one, believe in yourself. I'm not going to lie. People call me a risk taker all the time, and I don't necessarily see it. But when I sit back and think about it, to leave a top 100 corporation to start your own business, or to go into coaching and working with middle school and high school students and young professionals, you have to be able to step out on faith a little bit and take a little bit of risk. But the key thing is that you have to believe in yourself. So believe in yourself, not only in the sense that you can do it, but that you're going to take the time to understand whatever business that you're working on, right? So yes, I'm a marketer. I've worked on different brands, but the thing that I've always believed is that it's going to sound arrogant or whatever, but I believe that I can market any type of a product, right? Yeah. As long as I take the time to understand and learn what this industry is about, who the key players are, what are the key drivers and those type of things, that makes me confident that I can go in and really provide them with sound advice. So do your homework, understand the industries that you're going to be working in, understand those key players. So just like I talk about in the book, it goes with that preparation. You got to be prepared when you go into, those situations where you are taking that leap to be a consultant. You have to understand, talk to other consultants, realize that early on, you're going to be every department. You're going to be the research department. You're going to be the sales department. You're going to be, the connector. You're going to be the administrative assistant. So talk to people, understand that, and then know going, with your eyes wide open, going into those situations, what you're going to be facing. But the key thing, that I would say is to have that faith in yourself, have that faith in the knowledge that you have, be able to really transfer a lot of the knowledge that you've learned, whether it's in corporate, whether it's at your previous job, or whether it's in your school, be able to transfer that and make it relate to whatever you're working on now. That way you will be confident. You will be, you will have that, that thought that you can go in and be successful. But the key thing is like really stepping out on faith, believing in yourself, and then doing your homework about not only the area that you're looking to go into, but then doing the homework on what it takes to be successful as a consultant in that area or in that industry.
I love that too, because I think that one of the issues that we have when someone is moving over to being able to market themselves or writing a book, even, I mean, we have obviously in our audience, there's quite a few people that are in the process of deciding whether or not to do that. they have that imposter syndrome kind of thing going. They have
Oh
that,
man.
why is my voice unique? Why am I somebody special? And they have the issue of marketing themselves. So what do you say to that? How do you break down and defeat imposter syndrome?
Well, being feeling like I was facing some imposter syndrome. I had imposter syndrome at one point when writing this book, not, from a marketing standpoint, but from when I got closer and closer to writing this book or sitting down to write. Why would anybody believe in me? I don't have, a $1 million corporation or anything like that. But the thing that you have to do is to step back and write down. I did a simple exercise. Write down the things that I was proud of that I was able to do. I was able to graduate from undergrad. I was able to, graduate from graduate school. I was able to work for top 100 companies. I was able to be successful in those companies. I was able to work myself up. I was able to, start a consulting company. I was able to start a restaurant for you. So write those things down, because when you look at them, that's when you say, well, not a lot of people have worked on $1 billion brand before. They've worked on some great brands, but not a $1 billion brand, a $4 billion brand, or whatever the case may be. Write it down, look at it, sink it in, and then think, why wouldn't someone believe me, right? Why wouldn't, when I've overcome some of the things that I've overcome and be able to work in some of the areas and be able to travel to some of the places doing work, why wouldn't they believe me? So I think the key thing is to, again, it goes back. I, I want to keep pushing it. It goes back to building that confidence, right?
Keep pushing it. If it's important, keep pushing it.
It goes back to building that confidence. And how do you build that confidence? You recognize the things that you have done, and like I said, just take a little time, write down the things that you have done, and say, now, why wouldn't somebody believe that this person can do the things that I'm saying, in this book, or that I'm coaching them on, or that I'm consulting them on, or whatever. So believe in your experience, trust your experience, and not let, um, that stinking thinking, as it's been referenced a number of times, really get you down. Because I will say that, a number of times I got stuck in not writing, or hesitating on writing, because it was that same thing. Even when the book was coming out, it was like, man, will people believe um, what I'm saying in this framework in terms of taps into confidence, and that builds winners, and having that winning mindset? Will people believe that? And then again, I had to step back, take an assessment, personal assessment, look at the things that I've been able to do, look at the things I've been able to accomplish, look at the people that I've been able to impact. And that's something that I'm really proud of, because I've had people that have either worked for me, within the corporate setting, or worked with me on a consulting standpoint, that have come back and said, man, you were really good at what you do, and thank you for what you were able to do, and thank you for giving me confidence in myself, to be able to do some of the things that I was able to do in the corporate world. It's funny, I was just in Chicago and with some of my high school friends, and again, they were like, I'm not surprised that you wrote this book, because even in high school you were kind of helping people. You helped me, so those type of things really touch you and validate and let you know that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing, and that this is your talent, this is what you're supposed to be here for, and that erases some of those things. So, but the key thing I would say to start with is write down what you've done. Write it down, look at it, let it sink in. Not just a resume, not just whatever, but write down who you've impacted, what type of things that you've accomplished in those roles, and the people that you've touched, and then go back and say, why not me? Why can't I be the one that share this information? And I feel like I am, skilled and educated enough to be able to share this information with others.
Yeah, and that resonates with me, and that's why I say keep pushing it, because yeah, I in my life I've run into the same situation. There had to be a moment in my time when I moved into doing this kind of thing, being in front, doing podcasting and coaching from sales. I had to have that moment to say, I actually have lived a life less ordinary. I've been in a movie with Robert Redford. I've been a living historian. I've I've seen a lot of things that a lot of people haven't seen, and
Right.
those experiences and the things that came behind me, they're unique. There's something that can be shared.
Right.
And I'm guessing that is what inspired you then to do High Five to Winning, was that confidence and wanting to impart that kind of information on to other people.
Yes, exactly. That was the main reason I started. When I was doing my personal brand coaching academy, and also when I was going out just doing some motivational speaking, I started talking on the topic of why winners win, and I really drew a lot from my athletic experience, but also my business experience. But when I started talking to people, and I remember doing a speech for it was the beginning of the school year, and it was with parents and students, and I was talking about the high five to winning and why winners win. And I had a little, being the marketer that I am, I had a sheet at the end for people to give feedback, doing a little market research. What did you like? What didn't you like? Was the speaker believable and all of that type stuff? And a dad came up at the end, and he said, "I want to thank you. I really want to thank you." And I was like, "I'm glad you enjoyed it." He was like, "No, we've gone to a number of different speakers, in this forum, and they were giving band-aids, right? How to fix
Mm-hmm.
things, how to cover up things or whatever. But you were giving people a way to live, and you were giving them, almost like a medicine or something to be able to allow them to be able to go out and live, and be successful and do the things that they want to do." And I was like, that's exactly, why I do this, and why it was important to me to be able to go back. Because when I was, in middle schools and talking to elementary students, a lot of times it wasn't the fact that they couldn't do or they weren't capable of, or that they couldn't be successful in the classroom or beyond. It was just the fact that they didn't feel confident. Why don't you feel confident? Because of my clothes, because of where I don't have this, because I don't have a computer, and it was all leading back to them not having the confidence that they needed to be successful. And as I talked to people, and as I thought back on different situations, even in my life in football or whatever, it was like, why didn't we do better as a team, or why didn't we accomplish
Mm-hmm.
some of the things that we wanted to accomplish? And it was because we didn't go into situations feeling confident. I remember, and we were at the University of Michigan playing football, and we jumped out to an early lead. Halftime, we were leading, and they were ranked, I think, number 16 or 17 in the country,
Yeah.
and we were in the at the bottom of the Big Ten, and we went in and we jumped out to this lead, and we were in the lead at halftime, and we were fired up and come back out, and we just didn't win. They came back, they took control of the game, they did the things that would, and I would sit back on that situation and say, why didn't we hold that lead? And the difference was that they were confident
Mm-hmm.
that they could win. We were hoping that we would be able to sustain what we were able to do in the first half and be able to not lose the game, right? Keep this lead, don't lose this lead or whatever. And I look at different situations, and whether it's again, interviews, athletics, whatever the case may be, business deals, when you go in with that confidence, you can be more successful. And that, in talking to people at an early stage, through this process, through Personal Brand Coaching Academy, and I was like, this is bigger than just the audience that I'm talking to. And so I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to put this in the book. And the other thing I'll say is that I would talk to some other friends of mine that have either written books or on the motivational speaking circuit or whatever, and I would tell them about my taps into confidence, or what this was about. And they were like, "You have the book already written. Why haven't you written it?" That's something that people want to hear. So that meant a lot to me, for them to feel that way, and for people to receive the message that way. And so that's why I wanted to really, move forward in writing the book. I, it was just something that I was proud of as I was talking about, and I wanted to share with more people. And more people said that this is something that you should share, and so that's why I decided to write the book.
Yeah. Man, we've got this. This one is chock full of just fantastic advice. Normally, I ask, for a golden nugget. This one's platinum. we got 30 minutes of platinum. So, with all of that said, we kind of wind down here, Jermel. Where can our audience find out more about you and dig even deeper?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can definitely find the book, on Amazon.com and now on Barnes and Noble. You can also go to my website, uplift-tees.com. It's listed there as well. But more about me, you can learn at projectsforward.com. That's PROJECTS, the number 4 word.com. So projectsforward.com. Have information about my background, some of the things that we do from a consulting standpoint, some of the businesses that we work with, and those type of things. But really, I think that going and get that book is the key thing, and you'll be able to learn not only about me, but my thoughts on, again, taps into confidence, and also author Jermel Carr on Instagram as well as Twitter. But yeah, I think that those are the places that you'll be able to pick it up and be able to understand where I'm coming from, a little bit more about my background and those type things. And I would say the key nugget in the book is being confident. I have it across my chest because everything that's in the book all leads to being more confident. And the one that I will say that kind of, I think, stands out from what a number of other people kind of talk about is support. So again, you got the talent, you have the ambition, you have the preparation, and those things will lead to confidence. But the one piece that people kind of leave out sometimes is that support. Yeah. And that internal support and that external support. I make the reference in the book. You don't get up and see a Academy Award winner or just a Grammy Award winner. We just had that. Get up and say, I want to thank myself, no one else, myself, because I'm the only one that did this. I'm the one that made it happen. There may be one or two people that will do that, but most of the people will thank others that they've worked with or that have helped them along the way or driven them to be more successful or those type of things. That internal support or that external support that helps you to be successful. And that's one of the things that really resonated with me when I started thinking about who, somebody asked me the question when I was at Nestle, how did you come from Ida B. Wells projects on the south side of Chicago and end up here as a manager, a brand manager, working on, lean cuisine or insights and innovation, product development and those types of things. And I had to think about it. And I was like, one of the key things were the people that I had around me, the people that supported me, the people that gave me opportunities, the people that pushed me, even when I didn't know they were pushing me, right? My counselor sending information over, my mentor helping me with certain things or whatever, those type of support systems, my mom being there whenever she can to support and gains and those type of things. That's really a key piece of, being confident and being a winner. Some of the students that I was talking to when I was in the schools, they didn't have that support necessarily sometimes at home. But I told them, you have to look for that support elsewhere. Who's the teacher that's really trying to connect with you, that's trying to help you? Who's the coach that's really believing in you and giving you opportunities? Who's that mentor that, is giving you advice, giving you information? So find that support system outside. If you don't have it inside, find it inside and outside. That support system is very key and helpful into building that confidence, because those are the people that want success for you, sometimes more than you want it. They want it just as bad or more than you want it, because they're excited. They can see the things that you can do. They see the talent. They see the work that you put in, and they want to be able to support you and want you to have the success that you want to have. And those are people that you want to be around. Those are people that you want to have in your life, people that want to help build you up, make you smarter, make you better, and help you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve.
Well, Jermel, I am glad that Leaders Press could be with you and be part of your support. You've certainly inspired me with confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, those links are down below. Go ahead and follow them. You can already tell that he can help you build your confidence. My confidence is through the roof. Jermel, thank you so much for being here. We look forward to your book doing extremely well, and we wish you the best, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity. And again, everyone, go out and pick up High Five to Winning, Why Winners Win. You won't be disappointed. Trust me. Thank you.